Hi everybody, Flash Tribesman back again with another episode of Suzerain. Chapter 2, A New Sordland. Right. Where did we leave Chapter 1? We got the budget sorted out, I think. Oh wow, we taxed it. Right, what have we got now? What have we got now? Let's look at journal. We rejected. Oh yeah, we said she couldn't do the Benfey Festival. Again, yeah, some of the things that happen in previous games does taint your view a little bit. What down here now? Oh, visit and inspect schools in Lorraine. As part of the plan program, we arrived in Lorraine to visit a middle school. The prestigious Torrens Hill School was situated close to the sewers just outside the city, and the buildings were flanked by two hills, each beautifully dotted with shrubs and flowers. This is the one that won all those awards as being the best school in the country or something. Lucy and Cara and I got out of the cars and met at the entrance. Our presence has not gone unnoticed. Apart from our guards, there are at least 10 reporters following us around. That must be the principal, right? That must be the principal. Right this way, sir. The principal is a man of short stature with a bushy moustache and a pair of glasses. He approached us quickly, but was stopped by security guards. They started patting him down and searching him. Wait for them to finish. Yeah, go on, I waited for them to finish searching the principal. One of the guards turned to me and nodded. Mr. Principal, Mr. President, such an honour to meet with you. Shake his hand. Welcome to our humble school. So about security guards, it's good to be here. Let's begin. Let's just be excellent. You must be Mr. Gallard. It's a pleasure to meet with you. And Miss Wilder, so good of you to come all this out here. Thank you. At the entrance, the school's motto is inscribed on the walls in giant letters: Instreten sis anginka av garingina. It ola almerguaten. Wow. Yeah, sorry about that. Only Swedish people like that have to be horribly butchering that language. Education is the premise of progress in all societies and all families. We walked through the gates. There were many students lined up in front of the stairs at the main building. The school band started playing as we entered. All the students immediately snapped to attention and turned to me. Looks like more like a military school than it looks like a military institute than a school. Exactly, that's what we pride ourselves on. Discipline has the utmost importance in our school. We need more educated people, not soldiers, and that we're all aligned. I can assure you that our students are all well educated. In fact, our school is one of the top 10 middle schools in all of Sordland. Now, will you watch the students take their daily student oath? A boy and girl went up the stage, grabbed their microphones. The students turned to them. I am a sword. My strength lies in my blood. Girl, I respect honourable elders. I will protect the young. My life belongs to Sordland now, and it will belong to it forever. I'll always follow the guiding light of Colonel Sol and the Great Swords. There we go. Yep. Our education was about the glorification of Colonel Sol. A more no West Corps Victor and Distar. Nod at the kids. I almost forgot the words, which proves the looseness of this oath. No one even remembers it after they graduate. If you wish to follow me, we will take a look at one of our classrooms. Through the hallways, we made our way through to classroom 7A. As soon as I entered, the whole classroom rose up and snapped to attention. Sit down, please. The students sat down. The same boy and girl walked up to us. These are our top students in our top class. This here is my son. The boy came before me, saluted like a military officer. Tell me, Mr. President, what you want to be. Mr. President, I want to be a general, sir. I'm ready to sacrifice myself for my country and for you, sir. Blimey. This is nonsense. What are you teaching these students? Good, you will make a fine soldier in the future. Achieve, General. I will do whatever I can not to let that happen. This is nonsense. What are you teaching these students? The principal looked extremely surprised. Was it not to your liking? I'm so sorry, Mr. President. The cameras flashed. This is simply ridiculous. You are raising soldiers here, not students. I'm so sorry. I immediately performed disciplinary actions. How about you, lady? What do you think about this? She's our top student at school. Her grades are her excellent grades are to. I didn't ask you. She bent down and gently addressed the young student. What do you think about your school, just as between us girls? Girl, I'm sick of having to knit and sew. All the little boys learn science and chemistry. I'm smarter than all of them. Why do I have to take these stupid handicraft classes? Shh. Do you know who you're taught? Shut up and let her speak. I like Cara. Cara's presence had emboldened the girl, she went on. My math and reading scores are the best in school, but they won't let me take the classes I want just because I'm a girl. I want to be a scientist, not some soldier's wife. You heard her, Principal. You will make the necessary changes at once. We need more people like you in this country. I plead your determination. We need more than words, we need action. Concrete action. We need to protect girls like this. The cameras flashed once again. I looked around the classroom and saw a large portrait of Colonel Sol. Don't say anything. Well then, unfortunately we're almost out of time. We have other meetings to attend today. Thank you for your warm welcome. Mr. President Lucian, please go ahead. I would like to speak to the girl alone. Thank you for your tour. Thank you for visiting our school, sir. Come on, class 1, 2. All the students in the classroom yelled, but the boy whom I met was the loudest. And Morgan West Cora. Another round of applause for photos. Another round of photos when we left. News. In middle school. Expressed successful. Okay. Head talks about prayer language. Today, Kasara Cabana, leader of this proposed Swedish Prayer Language Act into the Assembly. The bill proposes aims to standardise language of prayer Swedish to fit in the entire Sordland. Basically, yeah. Okay. So basically, you pray in Swedish and nothing else. I think I know what we're going to do about that. Briefing on the proposed education reform. We were still in staying at a modest guest house for state employees. Cara set up a meeting with me and Lucian to go over her plans for education reform after our school visit. Lucian was seated across from me at the table, going through the documents. Cara entered the room. After the visit yesterday, I couldn't even sleep thinking about that little boy and girl. I've never been more sure of my intention to reform our education system. Lucian took off his reading glasses and put them on the table. I agree education reform is necessary. I agree. Exactly. These students are having to repeat the same solid propaganda every single day. They're being brainwashed at an age where their minds need to be free. You're right there. If we want to keep up with United Cantana and Acacia and Lesbia and Vagza, we need to be educated. We don't need brainwashed children. On top of that, young girls are denied the same opportunity as boys. They're forced into the role of housewives before they even reach puberty. Nothing's changed since I went to school. Women like me, Lily Asndilla, even your wife, had to study twice as hard to receive the same university education that you and Lucian took for granted. Is that the country you want your daughters to grow up in? Sorry. Mr. President, we need to bring change. We need to free the minds of these young people. They are the future. Do what you need to change it for an education reform. We need to keep politics out of the curriculum. Sol should only be viewed as a historic figure. Children shouldn't have to repeat his name every day. This is actually poisoning bright young minds. Instead of thinking for themselves, they're learning to take things at face value. We also ensure boys and girls receive the same instructions. Handicraft like knitting and sewing should be taught to both sexes, or not at all. I agree. I did sew when I was very young. It's got me through many a crisis without sew. Anyway, not big crisis obviously, but anyway. Sordland's youth must be technically skilled and capable for the next decade. That won't be possible with the amount of nationalistic indoctrination and narrow-minded thinking found in schools today. Either we raise a generation ready for challenges of the future or not. What will it be, Mr. President? Lucian, what do you think? As much as I respect Colonel Sol, his time has passed. Now is our time. I do think this might be the first step of a larger plan. Reform the education system. You will not regret it. I'll get to work immediately. Now that decision is made, let's move on. Very well. Skimmed over a document before continuing. With no change in the budget, the Minister has left on its own devices. We have some tough choices, but still lack additional funds. We made tough choices. We are investigating if privatising education would run enough funds to conduct the investments. What are the advantages of privatisation? There aren't many, but it would give us sorely needed funds and increase competition among schools. It would support our overall economic strategy of promoting our market economy. A few minutes of deliberation passed. We can manage without additional funds. The only reason I wanted to consider it is to have more money to improve education. So what is your decision? You expect privatisation to draw more funds. This should allow for more competition and quality. Yeah, let's go with that one. Let them create their own income. Will do. That should do it for now. I'll get to work and report back later. This has been a very productive day. I will be returning to Holsword. Have a good day. We dispersed after spending nearly the entire day together. I took the moment to simply breathe the fresh air of Suzerain. I felt calmer here somehow, but I would have to return to the chaos at Sordland soon enough. Okay. With the news, Kibana, Rayne is making a mistake. Yeah, they don't like what they complain about. Seeing policies that has been drawn anti-nationalist. As a poor back, these guys are loon. So I'm not even. Administration balances education privatisation. That's what changes. Administrators have to follow through, promote the market economy, start privatisation of education. Okay. Radical demonstrators arrested. Don't care what they say. They're nuts. Right. So what we got? Let's have a look up and make sure there's nothing up here. Welfare. Education privatisation. Hopefully bring some money that I don't know. Oh look, budget's gone up by 2. Happy days. Ooh, that's going to be a fun conversation. Intelligence reports the United Container have successfully launched a second satellite which has capability of radio communications. This means United Container radio communications will be able to be transmitted through a satellite for the first time ever. They are stepping ahead of our case here by an absolute country mile. Ministry of Education, Kyra Wilder, is reporting that she's begun working on improved education reform. The details of the education reform will be finalised over the upcoming months. If the reform package is accepted, the next steps of the process will be discussing indoctrination of education. Right. Okay. Right. This is a first step to getting the first hurdle in the new constitution. I arrived at the GNA, which is only a 5-minute drive away from the palace. Today I had a private meeting with Gloria Tory, one of the leading figures of the USP, to get her approval for the proposal. She was also keen reaching one of the 50 signatures to propose the new constitution, and she had extensive control of our party's conservative and moderate wings. As I walked through the corridors of the Grand National Assembly, I was confronted by my memories of the historic building. Despite being a member of Assembly not long ago, it felt like a distant past. I walked into the left wing of the Assembly, which currently acted as the quarters of the USP. Gloria's office was the first one inside. I knocked on the door and entered. Here I am. Good to see you here, Mr. Rayne. It was a small, neatly organised office. There were small figurines, photos and plants all over the place. It had a homely feel, unlike my Assembly office when I had worked there. On a gesture, I took a seat. The chair was very uncomfortable. How are you doing, Mrs. Tory? I'm fine, Mr. Rayne. How are you? I'm fine too, thank you. Anyway, let's keep this simple, Mr. Rayne. We both know why you're here. You want me to give you my support. I don't see why the backbone of the USP support your wish reforms. Don't you realise they go directly against the wishes of the founder of this party and the state? The reforms are not against anyone. It is all in the name of democracy. In the name of democracy, even though you are everything to Colonel Sowell, I think you never liked him nor the party he built. There's nothing personal about this, Mrs. Tory. Whatever you intend to do, you will be facing quite the opposition. That's all I can say. you must understand these reforms are necessary. Let me explain. How? We need to fix the reforms to fix our problem with unrestricted power of the Supreme Court. The people of Sordland demand change with the ESP must give them what they want. We need the support people support. The USP is a part of that knows how to act to change. In changing times, we must lead the nation, and we must lead the nation into the future. That's the part side, not you. I seriously do not know if the Conservatives were willing to support you at all, especially when you're trying to decrease the electoral threshold. You know this means bringing communists into the assembly. You probably have a deal with them, or maybe the PGFP friends seem to be giving you support too. Decrease is important to our democratic election. I can reconsider decreasing the threshold. How you will reconsider. I do not support an election with a threshold of 8%. This is a dangerous situation for us, as both the WPB and the CPS will gain more power, which is true. I'd rather leave the threshold as it is. Will that ensure your support? I don't know what to say before saying commitment from you, Mr. Rayne. Yeah, that's a step in the right direction, but your changes as a member of Honour Laws are a major obstacle. We obviously can't condone any threats against Colonel Tarquin himself. You want to punish him for aggressive policies preceding the past. Is that the intention here? You can't win this fight. Mr. Sol built the Republic amidst the blood and chaos. He demands respect. I have no intention of putting Colonel Sol on trial. Then why are you taking away his title? Why strike the old against the old man for his life and country? The member of the unnecessary and democratic. That's gone. I'm here to listen to your concerns. Concerns, listen to you. If this earns me your support, I'll do. If I promise we won't touch him, like I promise that we won't touch him, but these ancient laws should be removed. Fine, let's talk about the other points. Okay. I must say that I like the changes regarding the appointment of ministers. That's one positive aspect, but moving on. It's unbelievable you're taking away the immunity of the justice. It's a big mistake. Even though the Assembly is elected by the people, it does not hold enough judicial insight and new allowed to impeach justices. The separation of powers shouldn't be damaged. Yeah, actually, yeah, because even Naya Morgana don't like that, so I'll back on that one. Misunderstanding. Let's change the topic. This guy's. I see how it seems our understanding of democracy is very different. This will benefit the party. What I see as a bright future. We need more. Let's change the topic and discuss how I can make you Conservatives happy. Yeah. But listen to our concerns, acting when I present the case of the party, you realise we're acting the one person here. Changing his proposal, we should keep talking past each other. Yeah, I'm going to do that because, even like I said, Nea Morgana wasn't happy about that, so 5% that can make some more sense. She took a long look at the proposal on the table. You know what? I feel extra generous today. I believe I can give you the support you require. If you present yourself on a chair, just don't forget, Mr. President, Conservatives will be expecting a lot from you. Of course. Yep, of course. Good. I can get you the signatures you needed for the proposal, but I'll talk to other Conservatives. I hope there won't be any surprises there, Mr. President. That's very. Your lack of faith in me is disappointing. That's very Darth Vader, very Star Wars, the Empire. That is. That's very, very dark. Let's not even ask because that's just opening up there to make more demands. So we should ignore that. There's nothing you should be concerned about. I'll do to that promise. I just hope you won't continue with Alphonse's destruction of the country with your economic policies. Okay, of course I can't guarantee all the Conservatives of the party will vote for your constitutional changes. I have serious reservations about privatising healthcare or the sordid state corporation. the support of my support of my faction can change. That's right, 'cause I'm privatising healthcare, so I'm privatising education, so healthcare can stay. That will depend on some extent on your policy, but the signatures at least are as good as gathered. Nope, that's good. I'm just going to say thank you. Thank you. Nodded. Before we finish, one more thing I need to say. I'm completely against your efforts to privatise our education institutions. The state must be responsible for the education of its citizens. Your reform will corrupt our education system and bring in foreign influence. But we'll discuss that later. What we expect from you is that not to pursue further privatisation. If you start privatising healthcare or state-owned corporations, I doubt I can help you. I'm not Alfonso. That's yes, different names I guess. We stood up. Be myself clear. Thanks for stopping by, Mr. President. I hope you'll hold your promises. You extended a hand for me for a handshake. Once I took a hand, she immediately sat back down. Now I need to get back to my duties. If you excuse me, Mr. President. Goodbye and thank you. She only responded with a nod. I left her office. This is like get out of there. Suicide was handled, but to get the 150 signatures I needed, I still have to deal with Alban Clave and the reformist wing. I just hope I'm not giving too much away to her. I went outside, surged her back to the palace, and I met Lucy and I told her about the progress I'd made with Gloria. Hopefully that wasn't too bad. Budget's looking good though. Okay, let's have a what's now. Alban Clave, this next stage. After our meeting with Gloria Tory and further discussions with the party and my cabinet, it was time to talk to Alban Clave and get the reformist wing support for the proposal. I also plan to finally prepare a more fleshed out proposal and declare the agenda to our party after our meeting. We walked into the left wing of the assembly and entered the quarters of the USP. When I reached the meeting hall, I saw many members conversing inside. After taking a glimpse inside, I went back into the corridor to look for the office of Alban Clave, which was around the back of the palace. I reached his room. I knocked on the door and entered. If you get background, it was me peeling an orange, a bit of a snack. Mr. President, welcome. The home room was surrounded by bookshelves packed with files and papers. It was a small office with books and dossiers lying on every corner. It felt claustrophobic. On his gesture, I took a seat. Did a bomb drop in your office? Words. How's everything going, Mr. Claven? Been busy. The party is working very hard. Mr. President, thanks for asking. How's it going for you in the palace? I'm feeling pretty good. That's good to hear. I would express my gratitude passing the Workers' Rights Bill. It was one of the most comprehensive and successful political efforts. The Workers' Revolution will begin with small steps. That's too communist. I'm not saying that. It was the right thing to do because our workers have suffered for decades. Yeah, let's go that one. Yep, we know that. Indeed, people will credit your administration and your party for positive change in our lives. The businesses will share the burden with the state, but as change they have to abide by. But it's a change they have to abide by. I have to say the close collaboration between the palace and the party is going well. I'm looking forward to what we can accomplish with the reforms. I'm just hoping I've not given too much away to the Conservatives on this one. It's interesting how the game makes you speak to Conservatives first before you speak to the Reformers, because I suppose they are the hardest ones to deal with. Others smiled and knocked on wood. Anyway, so let's talk about the proposal. Thanks for coming here for my input, because there's some subjects where Gloria and I don't see eye to eye. I have to say the most progressive were always starting to warm up to you. Your attempt at changing the Constitution created quite a lot of excitement. One could dare say an excitement hasn't been felt since the 1930s. I've read the proposal and finalised together with Mr. Torpor, and surprisingly it's come out pretty good. Mr. President, I'm on the same side as you. I won't create any problems. There's a book coming here. That's good to know. You look down at the proposal. It's looking good. Ooh. I'll support your proposal and get these needed signatures from our wing. I believe the reformist votes that I have will be very important to you. Who knows, maybe you'll consider me for a job in the government in the future for this. I'll consider you if you prove useful in the vote. Alright, you know I will, Mr. President. I'll talk to my guy shortly. I'll have their signature soon. Don't botch it. Yeah, let's go. Thanks, Mr. Claven. See you in the conference, Mr. President. I left his room and went back into the corridor. Meeting exhausted. That was easy. I went to this restaurant in the assembly to get something to eat while conversing with other members of our party. So I've been talking to his people in the distance. After a while, the preparations for the conference began. I went back into the conference hall, prepared my notes for the speech I was going to make. It was time to get all of the present members of the party inside the hall. Gloria Tori announced me from the stand. I walked up to the stand and everybody in the room started clapping. Ladies and gentlemen of the party. Again, I wonder if that makes a difference how you address everybody. I started my speech. I wonder if because at the end of the game you get a ranking of how it ranks, whether you like democratic, dictatorial, melanivist, capitalist. And with this kind of the type of conversation you choose dictates how the game kind of puts you in the final chart of how it maps your political leanings. I'll assume that's what it does anyway. Anyway, I started my speech with the reasons for the change to the Constitution. The people of Sordland have spoken. They blame our institutions and our systems. What can change? What change? I start reading that again. The people of Sordland have spoken. They blame our institutions and our systems and want change. Can you blame people? Haven't we had enough with the flaws of our constitution? We must listen to their wishes and get their trust in Sordland back. I paused as they started clapping and continued. Talk about democracy. Let's just talk about democracy, I think. I brought attention to democracy and why we must rewrite a more democratic constitution. I explained how the proposal will fix the issues. The last side of the hall where Albin started applauding. Later I explained the concepts of the new constitution and asked for their full support for the proposal. Ask for their votes. I asked each member's votes to make a change together. The reformists on the left stood up and started clapping loudly after Albin Claver made a sign. Soon after, most of the party members stood up and joined in. I said to everybody in the room one last time, bid them farewell before leaving the stand. I walked outside the assembly back into the palace. Okay, that went remarkably well. Ooh, we've got to continue. So I'm just peeling orange at the same time. Which is for some reason proved rather difficult. Ask me why, but anyway. I digress. Let's have a look at the news article. President meets USP. Okay. Just speculating. Continue. Proceed to the next turn. Balance of power in Eastern Macopia. Just occurred to me, eating orange while trying to play Suzerain, we do a lot of talking, is probably not a wise idea, and probably not one of the wisest ideas I've done today. But anyway, radical. Archaic state of Sordland's conscription laws. Okay, this is going to be another one where we're going to have to make a decision. In what modern age, if we want modern our son, can we catch up with the superpowers? If we want to lose his militaristic identity, so that we can intellectually prosper, management conscription laws must go. Geopolitics, Rayne to meet with Smolak and Van Houten. Yep. Let's bit of vags. I know watching Sordland's actions closely and are sure to react with any sort of balance of power shift. Okay, that kind of telegraphs what's going to happen in this round. And this turn. I suppose the clues in the chapter of the balance of power in Eastern Macopia. Go in chapter 2. So it's turns, okay. Okay, right, so nothing to read apart from this. A lot to look at. Superpowers offers aid. Okay. Religious Harmony Bill. No vetoing that. Because that was proposed by the NFP bloke who's a lunatic. He's a racist, so we're not kind of signing that off. Yeah, again, I'm eating an orange, so that's why if it goes silent I suddenly realised, again, I'm putting an orange in my mouth thinking, oh, well, I shouldn't do that, but I still put the orange in my mouth going, that's not going to work on a video when you talk a lot. But anyway. Wow. A nice article by The Radical. Wow, I should take a picture of that and frame it. Look up here, nothing to look up down here. Right, we've got two things to look at. This is about private party. That's another one that always crops up. It does not. That just never leads anywhere nice. Okay. Miss Health, if you can work on a health report that will allow proposal will allow privatisation of health centres to potentially generate new resources for the ministry. Minister Benewell is personally overseeing the discussion and the report with top heads, including the National Business Council. With that, we might be able to get away with not doing that, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Okay, let's look at this one. We were in the middle of a meeting in the White House about our immigration policy. The discussion quickly became heated. I don't think so, Mr. Whiskey. It doesn't make any sense to me that a foreign citizen should become a Sordid citizen before a Sordid citizen in Sordland. Well said. My analysis is also in line with this, especially during the economic recession. We're giving Sordish jobs to migrants from other countries. What about our own people? Immigrants are the reason our country is not completely unsalvageable. Look at Agnoli immigrants, Agnan, they revitalised the whole region and in turn boosted the economy of the entire country. Seeming can attest to that. Statistically speaking, to become part of the workforce contributes to our economy, but I agree the situation is very nuanced. With that said, we can't just tighten our immigration policy and expect the economy to stay the same. We need to put our economy and the recession at the forefront. Gentlemen, can we please get back on topic? Right, sorry, Mr. Wishy. As I said before, as I was just saying before I was interrupted, look at the superpowers. Do you see them closing off their borders? Why do you think that their economy is in such good shape? They're in their current state because they welcome immigration. They use it to their advantage. We need to consider the economic impact of. I agree. We need to consider the economic impact of migration. Our money flow should be the utmost concern. If we want to have a capability to accomplish actual change, we need a decision before we move on. President, do you have any questions on the current state of immigration? What is the current legal status of migrants? Currently, all accepted migrants are given work permit on arrival, so they can work, contribute to the economy of Sordland. There is currently no limit on number of migrants accepted. However, the number has remained stable over the past few years. Despite the law, the fact immigrants work illegally for corporations, that is the main issue with migration right now, not the immigrants itself. Nonsense. If not for the unlimited amount of migrants, we wouldn't be in this state. How many immigrants live in Sordland? Official numbers show we have anywhere between 2 to 3 million migrants residing in Sordland. Even excluding the countless undocumented aliens and land missed, this is a substantial amount. The primary issue is the strife they cause between less fortunate Sordid citizens themselves. Including them in the workforce would benefit everybody, including unemployed Sords. Many more taxes means more services. How do migrants use their life here? There are three main paths to choose from. The first one is Aglan to Agnolian border, the second is Bergia to Welland border, and the third is the Lorraine coast. Agnolians are the largest group. It's a light border over there, although recently political fugitives from Vagland have been crossing the Great Sea by boat to land on our coast. Politically persecuted Wessex refugees tend to use the dangerous mountain passes at the Welland border. Many of them have bloodish blood. Let's move on to see what we can do about the immigration situation. Very well. David Wishy opened his document stamped with the seal of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade. If we're making decisions, I have to remind you, during the election we promised to keep migration laws relaxed, which I think is the right course of action. I disagree. We are supposed to control and reduce negative effects of migration like crime and subversion. I see your point, I said, but the economy certainly benefits from more immigration. Internal order, on the other hand, suffers immensely. We should tighten the laws to prevent further chaos. David sighed wearily. This is going nowhere. what's the consequences of keeping immigration policy relaxed? Aside from keeping us on the path of prosperity, modernity and continuous improvement, not much. Our course means good for our area, who will also have the capacity. This allows us to continue protecting investments from foreign countries, in turn keeps our trade system steady. We would be more trustworthy partners. Stability draws money. Stability? What stability? We've already seen clashes between our people and foreign interlopers. On the contrary, the only way to achieve stability is to tighten our migration policy. I don't like this woman at all. You heard the lady Sordland first. I'm ready to make a decision. Yes. We'll keep laws relaxed. I'm glad you made the right choice. We'll be forced to handle new waves of migrants from Magnolia. Our border posts aren't ready. Nothing that you just abandon native swords who need our support the most. Also, this will bring new tide of refugees from Welland. Burglary is already a difficult region to manage. This is shameful. Our work for them continues, and now they compete with foreign migrants just to put food on the tables. I'm disappointed in you, Rayne. Anything else, Mr. President? Let's wrap this up. Misgather documents away from the chair soon, some with frowns on their faces. I'm looking forward to the upcoming trade talks. Peter and I visit Stourport and Rakowitz in preparation. I'll be coming along to talk with the economy minister. I'm looking forward to the potential partnership. If we are finished, I need to head off and get a minister to work up on the new policy. Same there, board units need to be informed and prepared. Keep up the good work. Minister dispersed. Ooh, that didn't go down well. More news. Tourist workers on strike. Marvellous. It gets from bad to worse. Are striking near the construction site. Payments as laxate allegation. One worker contacted Sordland and insisted that the group have not been paid for any work for the past month, despite complaining. Budget is not enough. They're not interested in us. Great. They've promised to deliver a project much cheaper than its actual cost, providing this gets bad to worse. This is just if you go with Torpor Holding, I'm sure this happened on my first one, something similar to it. Great. Not one of my wiser decisions to do that then. Hang on. Reconstruction of the ministry has been completed with a success after the increased budget. According to the report, the large portion of the budget was transferred specifically to solve case backlog at lower courts, which has helped the case ease situation. Additional efforts will be directed at fighting corruption, holding the integrity of the minister, and the consolidation of the rule of law. Mr. Morgner says she intends to bring back trust in the justice system. Yeah, well, we know all about that. We have freedom in education choice, allow middle income families to pay for better education in their districts. Okay, fair enough, that seems to have gone down there. Well, that's what we've got now. CPA's offer aid. United Qatar Casey have approached with substantial financial aid offer in return for refuel and repair access at our military installations. United Qatar requests access for its ships to be able to dock in Conrad Naval Base, while Casey requests access for its jets to land at Uluru Air Force Base in return for aid. Ooh, what do we do? This is a tough one. I'm going to go, I don't know. Yeah, let's just do it. Let's nail our cause to the flag, eh? Radical Rayne's weak international leadership. Yeah, don't care what you think. The military overflow is before that anyway. The Qatar ambassador condemned financial deal with Southern Acacia, criticising President Rayne for inviting Acacia to meddle in East Ethiopian affairs. Yeah, whatever. We can't survive on our own, and the best chance we've got to not getting overrun by Lumberg is having a strong partner. Okay. Alright. Private party. Far from becoming accustomed to my work life as president, I only feel more and more snowed under by the weeks past. It's been ages since I had a good time to myself. I was starting to lose my focus and my temper going increasingly thin. Peter was first as I needed a break. As someone's cajoling, he finally persuaded me to come to a meeting of his new venture, the Gentleman's Club. For the past few months I've been hosting a saloon of sorts, not just for politicians and businessmen, but also artists, entertainers, people of taste, he told me with a smile on his face. There's only one rule, no wives or girlfriends allowed, hence the name. Oh, this has got bad news written all over it. I find myself in front of his new luxury villa in Illinois, play very loud jazz emanated from inside. I waited, finally Peter opened the door, I could smell whiskey on his breath. This is another event that always happens. Anton finally the real party can start, and I come on in. As I entered, Peter closed the door and turned to the small crowd. Gentlemen, a minute of your time, please. I have a private privilege to present to you the man himself, the fourth President of Sordland, Mr. Anton Rayne. I'd known him for a long time, long enough to understand this was he was more than a little drunk. He made elaborate mock courtesy as I passed him and I walked into the room. The music starts with everyone's eyes on me. He's what's next, the choir of a marching band. No, I'm saving that for those for the funeral. Peter laughed out his own grim joke before continuing. Dear members, please give a warm welcome to our very present guest. If I may, Anton, here, take this. And then I'm glad he handed me a glass of whiskey and put it on my shoulder. I put his hand on my shoulder. We all know why we're gathered here today, to celebrate life, to have a brief escape from our tumultuous professions. Yes, sorry, words failed me today. I personally don't have any better cure for stress than a little drink. Yeah, I'm sure you don't. Only a little one, yeah. A few people chuckled and some raised their glasses. Now the tradition dictates, as the club president, I have to remind you of the household's elf. There are three: no politics, no wives, no one sabre. Peter drank his whiskey and his glass in one go. Sip your whiskey. Anton Rayne might have the power to make presidential decrees, but I, Peter Vector, the president of the club, now decree this party started. Music, go. The band started up again. After greeting the crowd around me, I felt a hand on my shoulder. Let me show you around. We walked through the corridors of his mansion. Statues, paintings lined the stark white walls. An arched window provided a view of a neatly manicured lawns, complete with a swimming pool. A grand lesbian marble staircase led up to the second story. Peter gestured at the massive crystal chandelier hanging overhead. That chandelier was made in the 18th century, can believe it. There's even a hedge maze in the garden. How are you paying for all of this? I'll let you in a secret. Gus Manga has a lot of contacts in real estate. He brokered a good deal for me. He will also be here tonight. I can introduce you if you like. Living in a lavish mansion where my country suffers is not for me. Yeah, too right. I don't complete. That's why I've donated 30% of my vice presidential salary to charities. I don't believe you. That's why that's what it says on my tax forms. At least that's outrageous. We continue to walk until we circle back to where he started. The more he said it, Peter, the more I think the guy's a car crash. So, what do you think of my little hideaway? Quite frankly, I find it disgusting. It's jealousy, are we? Like I said, you can have a place like this. Anyway, let's go back to the party. He's immune to like any kind of criticism as well. Eventually, some caviar to be bought from Lesbia. You're going to love it. Open the door to the main hall. We rejoined with the guests. The music was loud now. The mood was decidedly more inebriated. Yeah. Mental note to self: don't eat an orange when you're trying to record, because it makes a right blinking mess. But anyway, cocktail waitresses were carrying around plates of canapes, wearing dresses that left little to imagination. This is what you've been hiding from Evelyn. No one is hiding anything. She knows all about these gatherings. He averted my gaze for a second before calling her one of the waitresses. She is in her mid-20s, wearing red lipstick, her blonde hair neatly tied in a ponytail. On her plate with taste points slathered in Lesbian caviar, Peter had mentioned. I took a bite. It was rich, salty, pure, taste pure of seaside. I could almost hear the sound of waves and seagulls. Lesbian caviar, the best in the world, I'm telling you, Anthony. These are a few pleasures in life there are a few pleasures in life that are this. As the waitress left us to serve another attendee, she flashed a quick smile at Peter over her shoulder. He smiled back a little too broadly. Sensual. His eyes were only fixed on her with an expression I remembered from our many nights out together as students. Oh look, there's Gus. Why don't you go and talk to him? I'll be back shortly. And Peter warned him, do not make a mistake. Mistake, what are you talking about? Just going to the washroom. I'll be back before you know it. He left the room. I headed over to Gus. Gus was standing next to a couple of men that I recognised as banking industry magnates. As I approached, all of them turned on me and bowed their heads. Mr. President, I taste of our new member, everyone. Gus and I clinked glasses as the people around us raised theirs. How long have you been a member? Since the beginning. It's a fun gathering, quite lucrative at times. You might have heard from Peter that I managed a deal for this mansion. He also told me that you might be interested in potential opportunities such as, well, this. Opened his arms, gestured at the opulent surroundings. Let's have a walk. The balcony has an amazing view of Erloy. We left the room and made our way to the balcony. On the way back, he took 2 cigars and held out one for me. He refused a cigar. We went out to the balcony. Erloy was at our feet. From the vantage point, I was able to see how expansive the building plot was. The swimming pool and hedge maze were visible from here. I leaned over the railing and I admired the view for a moment before Gus spoke up. I know you're wondering about the deal Peter made. In a nutshell, thanks to my connections, he was able to procure the house for half the asking price, which wouldn't have been possible under any other circumstances. I would be delighted to discuss similar arrangement with you. In fact, I have prepared a document with my own personal favourite opportunities. This is I can do since you have been generous to my business, to many business people in this country. And this is another scripted event that comes up. So I think, irrespective of what happens, you always get this event. I'm not interested in making investments at the moment. Real estate is the best investment anyone can make. With the current economic situation, it only makes sense to put your money in tangible asset. But I also have a few opportunities for you on the side to make a side profit if real estate doesn't interest you. Is there any chance I can convince you? No, that's my final answer. I won't push it further. If you excuse me, I'm going to refresh my drink. See you around. Yeah, again, I've done the opposite in the past 2 runs where I've gone, yeah, show what you've got. So this time I want to do the opposite and just keep my wealth up. That's gone up again as well. Wow. Oh, that's because of the occasion thing. Let's rejoin the party. Alone on the balcony, I looked over an Erloy. Thought I heard rustling from the hedge maze below. I looked down, still silhouette, 2 silhouettes actually, so close together they seemed to be tangible. I squinted and tried to get a better look. There was definitely 2 people kissing, but I couldn't see either of their faces. I returned to the party, spent some time mingling with the guests, engaging in small talk about their businesses, their children, their relationships. An hour later, Peter showed up next to me. See, I told you I'd be back before you knew it. Was that you in the hedge maze? What are you talking about? I told you I went to the washroom. On the same time you were gone, I saw 2 people kissing the hedge maze. I will be direct. You were kissing the waitress. No, what? No. How could you think of me? I'm a married man. You know you can tell me anything. Hey, you can have it if you want, Antonio. I want a drink because I do. He poured 2 large glasses of whiskey and drank them in one go. Throughout the party we drank and drank just like old times. This is the part that in this event, it's one of the events that comes up. To drive the story along. I'd like an option to be able to leave the party, because my whole through this is I'm not happy with the party, I'm not happy with his actions, I'm not happy with what's going on. It's at this point I'd like to be able to just leave the party to have that option. I woke up the next day with a pan headache and a few more regrets. My memories of the evening were hazy. There was a more important detail that kept coming back to me, the red lipstick on Peter's collar, but maybe my memory was playing tricks on me. Right, I'm thinking we're going to call it just there, because before we click on anything else, let's go. These are unintended things: privatisation industry, privatisation education, full swing. Dozen public schools have to transform into profit organisations, all ready for a public bidding process. Plenty of audit will be allowed to transition. It's expected the ministry will gather a substantial amount of private funds for the initiative. Good. Okay, that's anything else to look at. That is the Benfey Festival, so we'll ignore that one. I'm not doing that today because that's a long one. According to reports that the Galaxy's dressed a swanky fair to be seen as a huge mansion. Renovating with throwing pots, having hidden meetings during the economic recession. Again, this is why I would like the option not to attend, because this happens. You always, whatever you do, you get absolutely slated by the press for it, and it's one of those things that I would have liked to be able to walk out. But anyway, where's Erloy? Where's Erloy is a matter of interest. Erloy. There, no, that's not it. Where is it? there. So basically, I've also never allowed. We've tied ourselves to Arcasia. So at some point we're going to have to try and get deals with everybody else. I'm around the military. Think about that as well. Let's have a look. Country overview. Let's go to military. Arcasian given airbase access, increased funding. Yes, so that's kind of order. What do the generals think? Happy military personnel, good experienced generals. We've got the Arcasian Air Force in situ. That should hopefully put the Arcasian aid. Good. Hopefully that'll help us out a little bit. Keep Wumberg away from us. But anyway, economy's still pants, still dying on its rear end. But we've got plenty of budget free to do stuff. Anyway, next episode we're going to be dealing with the Bentley Arts Festival. Until then, I shall see you in the next one. Alright, thanks very much. Don't forget to like and subscribe on the way out, because that helps me out a ton, and I always forget to ask. Anyway, thanks very much, and I'll see you in the next one. Alright, bye.